Before we get down too deep into our little journey, here's something interesting. While it doesn't really show it that good, if you go up to Point Park, in the visitor center, there's a great big painting. Mr. Walker painted a huge painting depicting the battles for Lookout Mountain and the battles of Wauhatchie and whatnot around here. Now, like I said, all this green's in the way, but we are right around where he would have done his sketches and watched this battle unfold. Now, granted, back in the day, there was a heck of a lot less trees this tall. Interesting little side note, if you do look at that painting, you will see a little house that is on the lower side of Lookout Mountain. That house is the Friar house, and it burned in the 1940s. So, interesting little bit of history. Anyway, let's continue on, shall we? Hello again, everybody. Well, I'm back down here near the Fryar Cemetery with my buddy Alex, the Lookout Valley historian.
Hi, everyone.
People remember my old video where I turned left and went that way and ended up following the interstate and getting a little peek at the railroad trestle. But today, we're actually going to go find the cemetery, and it is down this way. So come on, guys, let's go take a look and see what we can see today, shall we? We are off to the Fryar Cemetery. Well, this keeps getting more entertaining. I am fairly confident that the cemetery is that way, but there is a little lake down here, so let's take a peek down here real quick, shall we? Well, not 100% sure, but theoretically, you can reach this from Lookout Creek. It is part of Lookout Creek, and when I say Lookout Creek, I'm talking about the part of Lookout Creek that comes from Reflection Riding. Now, they are closed at this portion, but somebody's really come down here and cleared this area out, so you can see that there are people down there just relaxing on a nice day. So I'm guessing this is an area where they would have taken out, but other than the fact that it's a little muddy because we've had a lot of flooding, this is a really pretty area. We're not going to be able to see it good, but Norfolk Southern 4256 5090, and I can't read that other one. So you can tell that that is a pretty busy line. But you know what? We're going to keep going that way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. A little bit out of breath. There is a decently steep hill coming up here, but here is the Fryar Cemetery. Now we're going to get in here in a minute and take a look, but even for a cemetery that does not get used very much, you can see that it is very well kept. So let's get in and take a deeper look at the cemetery, shall we? I don't know if that's a footstone or a headstone, but it's kind of buried. Richard A. Mons. He was buried here in 1948. And you can see, we're going to start on the right side. Another lamb, so another child. Annie Eller. So this is the Eller section. And you can see again that you've got the old, what's probably happened is that these are the original headstones, and then they added the nicer ones in. Not the nicer, the more modern ones in later. Apologies for the weird angle of the light, but you can tell that these are quite old. I can tell that there's writing on them, but I couldn't tell you what's on it. Somebody would have to come up here and do rubbings on them. There's more Ellers over here, so the Ellers appear to be closest to the gate. And there's a... All right, Alex, well, tell us what you know about this cemetery.
Well, the cemetery is named for the Friar family, which is one of the oldest families in Lookout Valley, with the Fryars, the Tinkers, the Jacksons, and many, many more. The McNabbs, just to name a few. And also the Cummings. Behind me is the grave of Sevier Friar, or Sevier Friar, if you want to say it French. He was one of the owners of Brown's Tavern after John Brown passed away. His wife sold the property to the Fryar family. He sold it to another family, just continue on till the 1930s. And then we'll talk more about the Brown's Ferry Tavern later, but it's now a part of the National Park, or excuse me, the Civil War Land Trust owns it. So we'll just continue that conversation once we get down there.
Well, thank you, Alex. Well, we're going to keep poking around a little bit.
Excuse me.
So this area appears to be the Smiths. Got Pearl Weldon Smith, you've got Delamond Smith, and then you've got Carden. And Grady Smith. Alright, well, let's take a look over here. I wonder, there are some sunken in areas, so I wonder if there aren't more headstones that are just gone. That does have something faint on it, but I can't even remotely make it out. Let's see if this other one over here has something. Patricia C. Moore. All right, well, we're going to walk over here and take another look. Well, I don't know if this one's an ancient one or not, or if it's just rocks. It's in this area right here, and there's another one right near it. I am guessing that these are really old ones at the top of this cemetery, because in an otherwise very smooth, well-kept cemetery.
Or it could have been Civil War graves too.
It could have been Civil War graves too, you're right. Father and mother, but I don't know for who. There's another one up here. We're going to take a look real quick. Archie Fowler. Huh. I can't read that one either. That is two. That's another Fowler. I just can't read father. I don't know what this was. Maybe there may have been headstones here. They're just knocked down. There's another small one over here. Jeff F. Killings, 1914. This is a fairly large cemetery here. I'm going to walk down here more in the middle and just kind of zigzag our way. George H. Mincy, Sally Moore. That one has something on it, but it's too ancient to see. Delashment. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Delashment.
Some families still live out here with that name.
I've heard Delashment. That's another Delashment, so this must be the Delashment section. You have more Friars in here.
Sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. The Fryar family and some of my family has lived out here, which I'm related to the Fryars, but lived here even before Tennessee became a state in the late 1790s, or mid 1790s, excuse me. So this is This family that predates the state of Tennessee. Even I don't think it predates Franklin.
Yep, that's Friar too. That's the more central stone. Eveline Fryar Hickson, wife to Will Hickson. Sorry, I didn't mean to get the shadow in that. Will Hickson, that sounds familiar. If anybody knows, I think that is a historic figure. I'm just not 100% sure. You can see that there's definitely an older section in here.
The Hickson family is owned, related to Judge Cummings. But he's also related to the Friar, so that's why we're here.
Texana Key. George Hickson. Man, some of these are really fading away. Elizabeth Friar, William Friar. We're gonna work our way down this way. And here's the more famous Igaboo Hickson Friar. She lived 3 centuries, from 1798 to 1901. She got to see a lot of history pass. Remember how I was telling you about the old headstones, and people have come back in here and added newer ones, so you can see the original headstones in the back. Jeremiah Friar Jr., 1809, died 1860. He was one of the founding friars. And here's Ingobo Hickson Friar from 1797 to 1701. So did they do more than one? They must have done more than one headstone. Either because
he lived through 3 centuries also.
Fairly impressive. All right, well, we're going to go from the Friar section up that way and take a look. Okay, so after looking at both headstones, this is actually a completely separate person. So Ingobo Hickson Friar. So that whole family seemed, of that particular generation, or not whole family, but at least 2, lived through 3 centuries. So that's fairly impressive. But let's go take a look at the upper part, shall we? But here is more friars. So there's, by and large, there's a lot of friars in this cemetery. Another thing too is that the fence line actually does go down a fair piece below this. It just appears that the cemetery Minnie B. Smith, there's another teeny old historical one, and one that has faded into obscurity. You know, one thing that I wish, if anybody's with any genealogical societies or anything, I wish that they'd follow my videos and come to these cemeteries where some of these headstones are so worn and maybe do some rubbings. McDonough, I can't read that. Maybe it'll show up better on the camera. But some of these headstones, while I can't read them, a rubbing would be able to tell people a lot more about who they were. Mary Wade, wife of Andy McDonough. Horseshoer. He was a horseshoer in the World War I. U.S. Army. That's pretty impressive.
And they still had the cavalry then.
It makes me wonder if he was part of the 6th. If anybody knows, please let me know. And then we've got Chapman up here. This is the Chapman corner, I guess. We've got some of those pretty, I can't remember what those flowers are, but they, once they get old enough, they really pop up pretty. I can't tell on that one. And then the last one up in this corner, as I walk through, a bunch of bugs. Butler. Now, well, there's a view you don't see every day. Other than the modern amenities, this is an interesting area. I'm gonna poke my head up that way and see if there's a different angle. And there you go. You can see 24 right there. And just like everybody, you know, there's all sorts of garbage being thrown around here. They threw away everything but the kitchen sink. Oh, wait a minute. I think they did throw away a sink at least. Guys, I hope you enjoyed our quick look at the Fryar Cemetery. I will say one thing, while we may be near an interstate, this is an absolutely beautiful cemetery. Anyway, I am off to go on some more journeys, so until then, why don't you go on a journey of your own? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.